Well, hello there and welcome. My name is Kylie Patchett and I'm your host, and welcome to the Wild and Finally Fucking Free podcast. This show is all about sharing the real and raw stories from women who have undergone midlife metamorphosis, taken a leap of faith, or broken the ties that bind them in patterns of staying stuck, small, and like their needs don't matter. You see, I believe that the years leading up to and during menopause are a rite of passage, a deep invitation after so many years of giving our time, attention, and energy to others to carve out the same time, energy, and attention in ourselves, in our health, our love, our connection, our vitality, our purpose, our real needs and deep desires. You know, those ones lying dormant underneath all the duty, responsibility, pushing, striving, and achieving of our 20s and 30s? You see, at this stage in our lives, we find ourselves shifting identity potentially, no longer caring as much what other people think, and left wondering why on earth we have not given ourselves permission to do life in the way we truly want to. In this show, I speak to the women brave enough to truth talk their own midlife shedding skin stories and the healers and helpers who help them transition through these crossroads of change. This is the midlife magic you didn't even know you needed, and I am so freaking glad you found us. Let's dive in. Good morning, everybody. I don't know why I say good morning, because it's not good morning where you are necessarily. But anyway, welcome to the Wild and Finally Fucking Free podcast show. And I have got the beautiful Sara Smeaton with me today. We've just been chatting and I'm already marinating in her wisdom. So now we will press record. Hello, Sara. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Kylie.
So exciting. I was gotten up a little bit early for this one, and I was like, oh, this is one of those people I just know I'm going to click with and have a great conversation with. So I'm so excited that you're here. For anyone who doesn't already know you, would you like to introduce your beautiful self?
Yes, thank you. I'm Sara Smeaton. I am a certified professional coach, and I live in Toronto, Canada. I've got two teenagers and a husband that I live with here in Toronto. And I am also a writer. In my past life, a writer. I was before this, a writer, and then also a project manager. And what else can I tell you? I specialize in midlife coaching for midlife. So that's probably the basics.
I so love one of the things that actually was because of the Oscars. I think you were talking about, we're not past our prime. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And we were talking before we started recording, like, where do we even get the concept that we have a prime? Let's start there. And then we'll jump all over the place.
Yeah. I think I posted it originally when Don Lemon said it.
Yes.
Yeah. So Don Lemon put his foot in his mouth pretty badly. And he said that he Googled it, and women are past their prime in their 20s, or in their prime, in their 20s, 30s, maybe 40s.
Oh my Lord. And please tell me that that's not what Google says, number one.
Well, it probably is. Google probably just talks about women are not past their prime.
That's good.
Don Lemon's, yeah.
We like
so,
Google.
yeah. But so that's when I started posting it. But I've been talking about the idea of feeling past your prime for a while, because that's certainly how we're meant to feel.
Yeah.
We're made to feel by our culture and by society that, once you're over 40 or over 50, you're past your prime.
Yeah.
And the question that Don Lemon's co-host asked him was, prime for what?
Oh, good rebuttal. I like it.
Yeah. Prime for what? Because if you think 20s, 30s, maybe 40s, what does that tell you?
Yeah, baby making. And also what else comes up is the ideal of staying beautiful. So young, beautiful, slender, whatever. Like, there's so many things that are popping into my mind. That's a stereotype of.
Yeah. So it rankles me in all kinds of different ways, as it did many, 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 many people.
Yep,
he got
me too.
Huge pushback. And there's Michelle Yeoh at the Oscars saying, ladies, don't let anyone ever tell you you're past your prime, right? Because we're more than our ability to A, make babies, and B, I guess I can say fuckable on your podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got fucking the name. So many people say, obviously I can swear if it's named this.
Right.
And I'm like, go right ahead, because I do it all the time. That's fine. But yes, fuckable.
Yeah. So it's just it's so outdated, and it's so like,
Dinosaur-like.
I mean, really,
Mm.
really, really. So, in some of my writing that I've done around this topic, and say, like, it used to be this way, that
Yeah.
you were in quotes, past your prime, but
Yeah.
now it's like not the way. It's like we are valuable, just inherent value all the way through the lifespan. It does not rest on our ability to make babies or be palatable looking. Like,
No.
it just doesn't. And it's infuriating.
It is absolutely infuriating.
Yeah.
I just feel like we were talking before we started recording about, is it, because I feel like as a younger person, I was continually, every time I got to like a significant birthday or whatever, and you were saying like 25 was this for you, like I feel like at this stage I should have my shit together. At this stage I'm going to have my, like, I remember being, I think maybe 16 or so. We get licenses in Australia at 17. And I remember I used to work at an ice cream place called Wendy's, which I know Wendy's is not that, is it in Canada? I don't know. Anyway, here it's a pink ice cream place.
Okay.
And yeah, I used to work at Wendy's, and these teenage girls used to come in and they'd order something and they had car keys. And I was like, when I have the car keys, I will have arrived. And then I got the car keys. And then the goalposts would always move, right? So it's like, when I've got, I don't know, whatever, I've like fill in the blanks here. And we were talking about that. It's like, do we also have this sense that we kind of are past our prime or too late because we're always chasing this like fixed point in time where we're supposed to have our shit together? And I'm like, the older I get, the more I realize we never have our shit together.
Yeah, I the way I've talked about it before is, like, my feeling is, especially as a parent, I notice this with my children and the children around my children, that we're told as soon as that baby's born, are they doing this? Are they doing that? Are they? And it's like, is your child doing this yet? Oh, can your child read? And it just never stops. And it's all about early achievement. The earlier, the better. 30 under 30, 40 under 40. And so I think that mindset, that's where our worth comes from. And if we're not, really precocious in some way, if we're just normal, that's bad.
So true.
And
So true. What's 30 under 30? I don't know that.
30 under 30 lists of like the brightest 30 under 30
gotcha.
executives. Or
sorry, I was thinking, is there something they should have done? But I'm like, I want to find the list and I want to burn the list, because we were talking about this again before we started recording. Like, I, as a parent, we've done some off-center things. We've traveled a lot with our kids. They did a lot of their schooling in a barefoot Buddhist school. I have always felt like our job as parents is to provide an environment where they can find out who they are. That to me is how I see parenting. Have I done that really well? Not necessarily. Obviously none of us parent perfectly, that's for bloody sure. And I don't think there is such a thing anyway. So let's put that out there.
Yes, me either. Thank you.
Yeah. Permission slip, everyone. No one knows what they're doing. And I would also argue, having girls so close together, 12 months, that the way that I could perfectly parent one is absolutely not the way that is perfectly parenting for the other one, because they're completely different. So, yes. So I feel like I have rebelled against a lot of that. Like, I was somewhere the other day, it's so funny. So neither of my girls finished school. They both decided to shift into what they're called to do at this age. A lot of my friends were like, oh, if they don't finish school, then catastrophic things will happen. And I'm like, no, I don't know. I'm sure it's the same the world over. If they decide that they want to go to university, or if they decide they want to make a big pivot, or they decide whatever, there is bridges all over the place to allow them to do that. So
right.
by parenting in a way that says you have to reach society's goalposts or my goalposts for them,
yes,
is so disrespectful.
I
So I'm like,
totally agree.
how?
I totally agree.
Hey gorgeous, we interrupt this gold for a delicious invitation. If your whole body has been whispering more lately, more voice, more truth, more satisfaction, more clients of the soulmate variety, more cash, more you, then this invitation is for you. Potent, my sister mind is officially open. This is my high touch, holy fuck, I'm ready sister mind for rebels in good girl clothing who are done outsourcing their power and diluting their magic to fit into someone else's business formula. If you have been craving a space where your strategy, your voice, and your energy all get to be offered, honored, refined, and amplified, this is it. Inside of Potent, you'll get my eyes on your business every single week, copy mentoring, and that is for brand copy and content storytelling that turns your truth into client catnip, energetic recalibration that helps you unhook old learned limitation patterns, keeping you quiet, not being seen, not being heard, real-time high-touch one-on-one coaching that actually sees the bigness of your vision, and the kind of sisterhood that does not flinch when you show up in your full, messy, brilliant, phoenix rising from the ashes glory. This isn't surface level support. It's deep, potent, paradigm shifting work that changes who you are as a woman in business and a woman in life. We start in August. Early open access is open right now. For the month of June 2025, inside of this early access open doors period, you will receive juicy bonuses, extended payment plans, and access immediately to my entire library of storytelling gold. You'll find all the juicy details at kyliepatchett.com/potent. And we fill spaces, and there's only 10 of them, and more than likely only 5 by the time you listen to this, because by that time I will have offered them to the existing cohort, the beautiful original OG circle. We do actually take applications on a first come, first served basis. So come and apply, and let's get back to the magic of the episode. So funny. Every time I interview, for some reason, my Siri turns on and says things.
Oh, I didn't
So she
hear
just
it.
turned on and said, definitely.
Siri agrees with us.
Yesterday I was recording and she turned on and said, seriously. And we were in a really, really deep moment. And I'm like, Siri, you are freaking me the heck out. And I really need to figure out how to turn you off. Anyway.
I actually think that's very cool that Siri is a rebellious parent. Yeah. And agrees that that's, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that especially as somebody who coaches people in midlife, I see the results of having ticked the boxes or followed someone else's schedule or someone else's roadmap. And then when the roadmap runs out, it's like, I don't know what to do with myself anymore. So that has definitely impacted the way I think about parenting my teenagers.
Yes.
And, I didn't take an untraditional path, but I also didn't behave traditionally on the path that I was on in some ways. So, I always can see both sides of everything. So, in many ways, for sure my kids weren't being raised in a barefoot in a Buddhist school, but at the same time, when it became clear that the school around the corner wasn't necessarily the best fit, we found something else for them. We always tried to get them in an environment that would allow them to be themselves and figure out who that self is and allow them to experiment. Right. So I think that the train of thought was very similar to yours.
Yes.
And I certainly, I have a daughter who's finishing high school, and I'm not attached to what she does next. Especially because these kids have been through COVID and
Oh
all
my
that stuff.
goodness.
I'm so unattached. I just trust so much that whatever path she goes on will lead her where she wants to go, or lead her to something else that will show her where she wants to go next. And
That's
I just
exactly
feel
how I
like,
feel.
right.
Yeah.
And it's so, to me, it's not about knowing what you want for the rest of your life at this young age. It's about following the thing you're curious about and seeing what doors that opens up for
Yes.
you. And I feel the same way about midlife. It's
Yes.
like you don't have to know or figure it all out now either. You can just say, what am I curious about? And if you don't know, you can just do like teeny little
Yeah.
wee doses of curiosity,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
smallest. Yeah.
So we were talking before about the things that we used to say about ourselves, that, the stories that we had about ourselves. And you've just
Yeah.
touched on one of mine, which used to be,
Mm.
I don't have any sticking power, because
Hmm.
I have done so many different careers and so many different things. But I have realized in this kind of midlife transition of really, really coming home to myself without the kind of labels of the, not labels, but the roles of mum and like all of those other things that
Yeah.
demand a lot of time and emotional bandwidth earlier on in life,
Hmm.
that I actually only can figure out what does and doesn't feel good by doing it. So exactly what you said, just
Exactly.
snacking, snack. Just try
Yeah.
little things on for size. So I'm like nibbling my way through life. But I always
Yeah.
thought that I had to have the whole flippin' dish. Like if I,
Right.
I was a forensic scientist. So therefore, and I've still got friends. I left forensic science in 2003. I just about to go away for a week with girlfriends from then, and they are all
Wow.
still in forensic science. I could not think of anything worse. I'd rather stick a fork in my eye repeatedly, because it wasn't something, once I was in there and I did it and I learned it, the things that I loved was leading a team, helping people understand themselves, running things so that people were in their joy more, all of those things. And so similar to what you say with like you were always informally coaching, it's like
Yeah.
the things that are the bits of the snacky things that we like, they're the threads. It's like, just follow that. Just follow that.
Yeah.
And that not attached concept, I just love that,
Hmm.
because my biggest thing that I keep on reiterating to the girls is like, even when my daughter that was doing apprentice carpentry, she had decided, obviously, but was really nervous about telling her dad and I that she was leaving. And I'm like, why? And she's like, I don't want to disappoint you. I'm like, you can't disappoint me. If you're following your heart, the only thing that would disappoint me is if you're trying to do something that you know damn well is not for you. And that's
Mm.
what I think the gold in that non-attachment is. And I would really, really love, and that's why I said to her, you know what? I coach women in their 40s that followed
Yeah.
someone else's plan, and
Yeah.
they're so fucking lost and they're so
Yeah.
disconnected from what they want because someone else gave them a plan and they've dutifully followed it, and they've finally figured out that it's not feeling good, exactly like you said. So it's like, can we stop doing the damage when people are in their teens and 20s and
Yeah.
pretend that we have everyone else's answers, because we don't.
Yeah. And especially if we don't for this next generation, I don't think any of us know
Mm-mm.
to even pretend. I mean, I guess there maybe are some people who are really in that, forecasting future people, but otherwise, I don't think any of us know what their reality is going to be
No,
or what is the best way
no.
to go forward. And, you know, for me, that's really important not to impose that. It's just not, I don't know. I don't know. I can only tell by how happy they are,
Yes,
whether, you know,
yes. This is the
and I guess
measure.
this is the measure. And I get, the other thing is that, like, for me, because I think I had it in my head that you figure it out early, that every time I realized something wasn't for me, or I left it, or I tried something, I thought I was disappointing myself, or I was
Yes,
starting from scratch in some kind of way.
yes.
And
Let's
what
pop
I've,
that bubble.
yeah. So I think what I've really realized is nothing is wasted. Like, I'm sure your forensic training comes in handy all the time in ways that are surprising and kind
Do you
of
know where it comes in
delightful.
handy? Right
Tell
here.
me.
Right here.
Ah,
It's the same
ah,
curiosity and putting patterns together and asking questions. Like if someone
yes,
answers something and there's something else that is tweaking my interests, that's what I
yeah,
ask next. And I'm like, oh my God, I only just put that together in the last few months. It's like, it's the
yes,
story and how things fit and the golden threads of things and the connections and my brain just works like that. And so,
love
but when I
it.
left forensic, my story was I have failed.
Yeah,
I have spent all this time and money and energy, qualifying in a field I'll never go back to.
mm-hmm,
Um, and if I'm honest, the only real reason I ever went into forensic or did any of the things I did in my early days was to try and get a sense of this worthiness that I didn't feel back then.
right,
Like, and I still hear myself say, oh, I was a forensic scientist. I'm like, there's a piece of me that is still using that as something impressive. And I'm like, fuck, I want to heal that part of myself because I
right,
don't need the title. like,
right,
like you said, inherently worthy. Okay, so that's my
yes,
edge at the moment is like, I can just be me without saying the things that used to impress people or
right,
whatever, or give me some false sense of being filled up because it's like, it's just
yeah.
false. It's
It's
not
it's
real.
hard. It's hard though. That's a challenge. That's a challenge because the first question everybody asks is, "What do you do?"
Yeah.
And it can be a really big point of shame for people.
Yes.
And if you're doing something
And
that
people
you
don't.
think other people don't approve of, or if they think it's weird or out there, then you don't feel good. If you do something that you think is boring or stayed or you've been there too long, then you don't feel good. If you if you're not doing anything at all,
We can't
if it's in the
win.
workflow, you cannot win. I mean, the whole society is so shame um, motivated by shame or focused on
Yeah,
shaming
not getting it
maybe.
right. Yep.
Yeah, and it just, I'm not immune to that. I mean, for so long I was like kind of tripped up on the word coach because I just had a story in my head about life coaches, and I still
Right.
don't
Yep.
identify myself as a life coach because I don't really know exactly what that means. Like, but I definitely, so I had this story. So this is I'll just tell this kind of
Yeah, yeah,
quickly
go, go,
because
go,
it's
go.
not that exciting, but I started my career in film distribution as a kid, like a
Yeah,
25-year-old
yeah,
kid.
yeah.
And I was in the video department, and videos were going down like
Yes,
the
yes.
Titanic,
Yep, yep,
and
yep.
and I saw that, and it was one of those things where people were leaving the company, so other junior people were rising. So
Yep.
I had this big
Mm-hmm,
office. It was
mm-hmm,
hilarious.
mm-hmm.
It was so funny. I didn't
The
even
bigger.
know what anything in my office was. Like, there was all these binders and folders. I didn't know what anything was. I didn't know what I was doing at all.
I love
Like,
it.
I still remember getting so yelled at one day because I had ordered something and the guy who delivered it said it was COD or something. My boss was screaming at
Oh
me,
my
screaming. It's
goodness.
like, do you have $10,000 or $25,000? I'm like, no.
No, not on me. At
Yeah,
home though.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, so I, talk about imposter syndrome. So I started off work in this huge imposter syndrome, but then I I went into career counseling to try to figure out what is my next step because
Yeah.
obviously this video thing is
It's like the
not.
Titanic.
We know now what happened.
Like the 500 copies of Titanic at the Blockbuster. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So I went to this. So this, I was in my 20s. I'm not sure exactly how. At late 20s, I guess, mid 20s, something. I'm terrible with time,
Yeah,
Kylie, and
yeah.
I have no clue when things
Earlier. Let's just
happened.
say
So I
earlier.
just always ask my husband, when was that? Did I see that
Late
movie?
20s.
Like, I don't know anything. So anyhow, I went to this career counselor, and it came back that I should be a coach. And I got super excited about the idea because I love people,
Yes.
especially one on one like this. Like,
Yes.
and then I just talked myself right out of it, like almost immediately. And
Why? What was the story that you had?
the story I had was that I was too young. that I was too inexperienced, that who would want to be coached by me. And I had no work experience, no life experience, no anything. And of course, I've never actually put it together, but I think what I'm saying to you about feeling like an imposter in that job because I rose so quickly because it was the Titanic, um, led me to feel like, who am I? Like it really fed into those who am I beliefs.
There's a pattern though, right? Even, and you spoke about it in your answers, like we diminish what comes naturally. And certainly if we have any external, because me objectively hearing you say this is like, was it just because people were leaving or was it because you had a skill? Like, that fit
for
I
me.
Had
no skill. No, this is not a self-critic. This was like literally, what were they doing?
Okay. But yeah, even then though, we always tend to diminish or make not important the things that come naturally to us because they come naturally to us.
That's my experience. That's my experience. It was my own personal experience. But not only because it was something that came naturally to me, but because it was diminished by the culture.
Yeah.
So if what came naturally to me, there was sort of two things that came naturally to me. One was writing
and coaching.
But I really had imposter syndrome around writing. I'm not a writer. And any writer you talk to is like, I'm not a writer,
I feel the same.
So what would make you a writer? Like when do you get to say you're a writer?
What qualifies you? Yeah.
Right. So I was a decent writer. I got good feedback on it and all the way sort of from grade 12 up. And then talking to people and helping people, but in a way that was different from the way maybe a therapist would help people, which my mom was a therapist.
Interesting.
Yeah, she actually, funnily enough, trained while I was in high school. So she became a therapist in midlife. So I had this example of, she did other things too. She did lots of stuff. She did dance therapy. She did some body work, but she trained to be a therapist. She went back to school part-time and it was really cool. But I knew I didn't want that because I am sensitive and I didn't want to, at that time in my life,
almost
take on the depth. Yeah, that's just the depth.
I understand. Yeah.
But I'm good at motivating people and inspiring them and helping them see themselves and really been generally a pretty good listener. And so, but there was no path that I saw. If it wasn't therapy, what is the path for someone like that?
Yes.
So it wasn't until I got told you should be a coach that it started to click. Oh, okay, maybe that's how I can use some of these skills. But I just talked myself right out of it. And then in the intervening time, it became life coaches are weirdos and and some of them are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are.
And
100%.
And so are some doctors, and so are some lawyers, and so are some bakers, and so are some bin men, I'm sure. Because weirdos are not just like
exactly. Except that doctors need to go to school to say they're a doctor, whereas anybody can say they're a coach. And so it does muddy the waters a bit. And so, and I thought, oh, it's like the butt of a joke and it's really flaky and like, so all these stories that I had in my head about coaching, I thought, well, how could I ever do that? Because what would people think? And so I just carried it. And it's funny. I've talked about this before in interviews, but I don't know if I've ever said it quite like this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have called it a dream. It's like sometimes people have these dreams and then they put them aside and they do the more practical thing. I wouldn't have called it a dream. I would have called it a secret little shame pain point that I carried around.
That you didn't give yourself permission to coach?
That I felt, I wonder if I even know why. It was just like, it would pang me. If I saw a joke where life coach was the butt of the joke, I would feel shame.
Oh, wow.
And I think it's because I knew I really wanted that. I really wanted it. But I also didn't really know what it was. So
Well,
when
let's be honest, I still don't know. I mean, I think there's so many versions of what coaching is and life coaching is. And
yeah.
as you're talking, part of the reason why I left my business in the first time, I mean, there was something very big that happened in my personal life where I just didn't have the emotional bandwidth to run a business, think about a business, hold space for other people. I just couldn't, or no, I'm going to say I couldn't. I was just about to diminish my feelings again and say I probably could have, but no, I'm being honest. There was also a big part of me that at that stage, and I'm talking 2017, I think I left. What are we in? 2023. Yeah, so about 2017. There had been a lot of the wave in coaching of coaches coaching coaches to coach coaches into selling $10,000 VIP days. Or 10,000, like huge, big ticket. And I just am revolted, still am revolted. And, back in those days, there's a lot of wave of like, oh, you've got money blocks if you can't charge that much. I'm like, no, I just don't fucking see the value. I do not think that one human being can offer $10,000 in a day of value. And maybe that is a money block, but that is my sincere belief that me, grounded in reality, very pragmatic, I don't care how freaking spectacular you are. I just don't think. Anyway, so that story that I had of like, I don't even want to be part of the coaching industry. I don't want to be selling. Like, I don't even want to say that I'm a coach because I don't want to muddy myself with the same lack of integrity. Of course, that also says I was only paying attention to the 5% of the market that was doing that and making it mean something for me. And I think what I was really doing was looking for a good reason to leave coaching rather than the one where I was actually saying, oh, I can't do this anymore. But I do think that there is that, I think it comes back to the society or the shared belief system about the roles that you are in. That there's so much, even I was talking to my daughter when she was talking about leaving carpentry, and she said, I just want to go harvesting. And we're in, a rural area. She wants to go out in huge fields and, harvest crops. And I'm like, if that's what is calling your heart to do, then that's what you need to do. And she's like, but what will people think? Who gives a fuck what people think? If you're happy on a harvester and it leads you somewhere else. And that's what I think. Like you said before, it's not necessarily figuring it all out. It's just doing the next thing that you're curious or joyful about. And I think if we can help break down this sort of idea that there is the one thing or the answer, and it's just being curious, and like even in my body, that feels like so much more relief and
I know. And then there's no there's no finish line then.
And this
then
comes
I get
back
to be curious forever.
Yes. Do you know what? When you're talking about your mum going back to school, do you think, because we were talking before we started recording about that you didn't ever necessarily feel like there was like a peak of something that you needed to achieve, and that you've always had this sort of like thread of rebel through you, which is obviously why we get along so well. Do you think that seeing your mum kind of not reinvent, but, go back to school, do something for herself, do like follow her curiosity, has that colored the way that you see this midlife as well?
Oh, I think so. Absolutely. I also, my grandmother also started painting in midlife. So I have had examples, and also like other family members, like lots of women in my family have done really interesting things, moved, or like I've seen a lot of non-traditional things that were not necessarily the norm, maybe for the time, and I definitely think that's colored it, but not in a way that I was conscious of.
No, of course not, because it's the ocean you're swimming in. You don't know, but
exactly.
I don't have that. Sorry, continue. I didn't mean to.
Well, I was just going to say, it's not that I didn't feel I needed to reach a peak. I think it was, I probably did. Like, I probably had a lot of self-worth stuff around not having it. But I also had the rebellion. So it's just, there was always more than one thing going on at a time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Always. And there
Yeah.
still is. I mean, it's really an interesting stew being a human.
Yeah, yeah. And do you know what I respond to? So I found you through Neve, who's my yoga for stages of menopause teacher, and she was tagging people, and I'm like, oh, more cool people that work with women in midlife. And one of the things that, I mean, I love your writing, first of all, because I feel it, that's such a gift as a writer. One of the things that comes across in everything that you share is this, yeah, curiosity is the word that you keep using. So it's curiosity and also a joy. It's like there's no rule to say that when we get older, we have to be less curious, less joyful, less interested in meeting our needs by, having new experiences or trying new things or connecting with different people or whatever. And I think I didn't ever, like, my relationship with my mum is not a great one. My mother line definitely does not have any rule breakers in it at all, ever, like, definitely not. But what I did have, and I think it may have broken the mold for me as well, my dad was 55 when I was born. So he'd already been married. He'd lost his wife through lymphoma just after he came back from World War II. And then he came back, got married to my mum, 27 years apart. I don't know why. I don't know why that didn't work, Sarah. I mean, but he passed away at 91. But at 91, he was still driving. He was still walking a kilometre every day because we had a 100-metre long driveway, and he used to use pebbles at either end to do 10 laps every morning. But he was deeply curious and so interested in life and learning, and he was like, I'm an only child, so he was 85 when my kids were born, 85 and 86. And he just there was something else to be completely absorbed in. But I think the curiosity and the joy, and there was a lot of, like, he was born in the Depression in Australia, so there was a lot of like money mindset stuff, and definitely low self-worth from being the child of, in 9 with food scarcity and a probably abusive father. He's never said that out loud to me, but I would say. But this deep curiosity and the joy. And when I see you smile, actually, it very much reminds me of my dad's smile. It's just this full face of like, I'm ready for the next, that wanting to squeeze the juice out of life, I think. And
thank you.
I do. I really do.
I don't know your dad, but that felt like a huge compliment. Thank you.
I don't even know. Have I got a photo? I've got a photo. I have got a photo somewhere, but anyway, that's it. That's
so sweet.
So that, I think, for me, women in midlife, it's like you do still have this depth of desire and curiosity finding thread that you can pull on. I'm curious.
For sure.
When we were talking before, you said something. So how I was just saying, one of the things I used to make myself wrong for was giving up, too easily. Like, I just, can't hold anything. Hilariously, since been diagnosed with ADHD, and I think, maybe that had something to do with it.
That's interesting, because I was literally just talking today about whether or not I have that.
Well, I was only diagnosed because my daughter was diagnosed. Same thing as so many women of our age. Just, one of my daughters was diagnosed, and then, so funny, we were sitting in the psychiatrist's office and, giving her kind of history, and I'm like jumping all over the place with, as I always was and probably still am, even with medication on board. And he's like, have you ever thought that maybe you might like to? And I'm like, oh, no. I'm like super organized and I get things done, everything. And he's like, yeah, here's the thing. You are super good at getting things done and being focused because you put everything in project management software because your brain can't do it. And so you actually put it somewhere else so that the software can manage what your executive function usually could.
Wow.
And I was
interesting.
Like, oh my God. So I reckon there's so many people out there. Anyway, I digress. So that's the thing that's the biggest story that I've had about myself. What's one of the stories that you had, as you said before, you remember as a younger person, like if you were preparing for exams or something and a friend had something
Mm-hmm.
wrong. Do you want to tell that
Mm-hmm.
story?
Yeah. So I mean, I was just saying, because I think you were mentioning how I said in my when I was answering your questions that one of the things I've realized is that I've been informally coaching
Yeah,
for
for
many
decades, probably your
decades,
entire life.
probably. And one of the things that I recognize, like if I think back to myself in high school or university, like I would put aside pretty much anything to help somebody who needed
Yeah,
to talk.
yeah,
And the story I told myself is that I wasn't serious about my own success. And I think, as I said to you before we started recording, um, and in the same way that many things can be true at once,
yes.
uh, there was some self abandonment there.
Mm.
Self abandonment is something that I am pretty intimately familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably was prioritizing somebody else over myself at the same time. That came so naturally to me. I was so good at it. I enjoyed it. So, but I didn't see a path for that, as I said before.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
recognize it as a real skill or a
yes,
talent,
yeah.
but my mother did. My mother did.
Ah, so
And
she
you know, it's
saw.
she saw, but I didn't realize until I found a journal that she'd given me at the end of grade 9. So I was 14.
Oh,
And I wish I could, I'll paraphrase it, but I wish I knew it off by heart. But I had done that year sort of a biograph, like a autobiography
yeah, yeah, yeah,
project.
yeah.
And she said, you seem to really like, in this journal, she said, you seem to really like that project and doing the writing. And she said, I think you have a deep capacity to understand people and life.
Oh, what a
And I
gift.
thought you might want to write. Yeah,
Oh, it makes me
yeah,
quite teary.
yeah, me too. When I found it, I
Oh,
was like,
wow.
what?
I was
How do
seen
I was seen
at 14. What a
at
gift.
14?
Wow.
It is an absolutely beautiful gift. And I didn't see it in myself, so I didn't know I was really being seen.
No, no, no.
So that's where the gift was probably like not wasted, but just I didn't know what she was seeing really. But she saw it. She knew. She
I
knew when I
wonder
was
though,
14.
even if you weren't consciously going, yes, you're right, mum. Thank you very much for seeing me.
Mm,
Maybe like the career counseling answer, you should be a coach. Maybe they're
mm,
all just back here in your beautiful
yes.
unconscious swimming around, pinging to
For
the
sure.
surface.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. For sure. Yeah.
What
I
a
think it
beautiful
all
thing.
informs. I'm very, very, very lucky with my family. I'm very, very lucky.
Mm.
And I don't take it for granted. And I know it's not everyone's story. And
Yeah,
so
definitely
sometimes I
not.
feel a bit, it's, I'm careful that how I talk about it because I feel it's such a privilege.
Oh no, shine the
Um,
light out there as a potential.
yeah.
I
Mm,
almost want, I'm
mm.
thinking, please don't say you feel guilty because you don't. There's no,
No,
don't.
it's
I
not
know what you
guilt.
mean. You
It's
want to be
like,
respectful that
yeah.
you're not rubbing up against someone's edges or
Well,
something.
I think it's really rare.
It
And
is.
that doesn't mean, again, like we were talking about perfect parenting, that doesn't
Yeah.
mean anything really. Like, I was a high school dropout. I was a little teenage rebel. They had a hard time with me.
Yeah.
So, you can be the most intuitive, loving parent and still have a hard time with your kids. It's
Oh God,
not,
yeah. I mean, they're still
right?
finding themselves. They're still friggin' that's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
anyone says to me, "Oh, she's so good, there's no troubles at all," I'm thinking, "Oh, there's a kid that's trying to mask themselves somehow."
Right, right, right,
Not
right,
that every
right. But
child has to be rebellious or precocious. I don't mean that, but if there's never ever any waves under the surface
yeah,
of finding themselves, I think maybe
yeah,
there's
yeah,
some hiding here going on.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah, yeah. So it's like life is complicated and growing up is complicated and every stage has its like you're always new at it, right? Like when you turn 30, it's the first time you're a 30-year-old. When you turn
yeah.
40, it's the first time you're a 40-year-old. And looking back, you can see, you know, what the gifts were of the age and what the
Yes.
challenges were more clearly. But when you're in it, it's kind of hard. And I think so something has allowed me to see the gifts of midlife more than I see the burdens of it. And so that's something in the story of my life that has let me do that. And
Yeah.
but
Do you think
the
it's
other
just
thing is,
time in? Like, is that just time in? Like it's like the
oh
accumulation of the other decades of
yeah, I
making
think
sense
so.
of it. I don't know. I
I
don't know the
think it's
answer to that at
also
all.
part of it, I think, is the experience I had in my 40s. I had two young kids,
Yeah.
um, and I had put a lot, I was home with them and I had put a lot, I had to stretch myself quite a bit to advocate for them in different ways
Yes.
that were out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I had to make myself a pain in the ass where really I just wanted to like make everybody super comfy and happy. And I had
Yeah.
to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And that was really hard. And then I started this writing thing with an online magazine, and I've told this story I think once or twice, but I said, I feel weird about putting myself out there in this
Yeah.
way because I had been kind of behind the scenes,
Yes.
like
Yeah. In the supporting role
and
rather than out the front.
kind of like and when I was in advertising, as I got more responsibility, I was more the face of the projects and stuff. But that was what I did after film, by the way, after
Yeah. Yeah.
video.
Yeah. I know
When
we
I
haven't
yeah,
even got to the
I,
project
no,
management.
I know. But so and she said, "Well, the world needs more Sarah." And I
Oh.
thought, which is another gift. Like you can just point to these things that people say to you, and you're like, oh, and it, in that moment, I was like, maybe that's true. I don't know if I would have believed it at
Yeah.
another moment. But in that moment, I was like, maybe that's true. Maybe the world does need more Sarah. Why
Yeah.
not? Right? Like, I see how the world needs more of that friend
Yeah.
or more Kylie or more,
More curiosity,
everybody.
more joy, more permission to
Yeah,
find
more of everyone.
themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, so I did that. So I pushed myself as a parent, I pushed myself as a writer, I pushed myself into learning all these new things. The work I was doing in my 40s was all new to me, social
Mm-hmm.
media, and um, it was just really a lot of learning, which I loved and was really passionate about. And then that little stab of pain, I started to feel this sort of stuckness because I didn't know where I was going to go from where I was.
Yes.
Kind of felt like there was somewhere new, but I couldn't name it.
At
And I
what
couldn't
age?
see.
It's like what
So mid 40s, I guess. Mid 40s.
do you look
Yeah.
back and align that to perimenopause questioning at all? No, just time of
I
life.
haven't. To be honest with you, I didn't feel much perimenopause
Yeah.
impact until pretty recently. I'm 51
Yeah. Okay.
and things were pretty ticking along pretty well. And actually I was talking to my naturopath, and she said, it's a little bit like a duck. Like on the outside, everything looks like it's smooth, but underneath, those feet are
Yep.
paddling pretty quickly. And so that's kind of what my system was like. So
Yes.
on the outside, I didn't really notice too much with
No, no,
perimenopause.
no.
Now I do. Now
Yeah.
I really, really do. And I've
I'm
been
just,
having hot flashes and stuff and,
yeah, the
different things for the
joys.
last year. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
running hot.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I ask is because I'm noticing in myself. So I'm 40. I just turned 40. Or did I just turn 48? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm noticing that the call to do what I'm really here to do is getting louder and louder. And I was just wondering whether the
Ah.
call to coaching finally broke through the surface when, I don't know, I feel like there's something about hearing your calling more intensely or intimately. And I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
continue on with
I
your story
I
because I was just interested to see whether you
no, I
aligned.
think that's really interesting. And I think for me, true.
Yeah.
Um, for others,
Not
not as clear.
necessarily. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think it's universal necessarily, but I think um, for me, I'm just trying to think. So that 45. So I didn't, I sort of still felt that pang, but then I actually hired a coach.
Yeah.
And said, please help me. Like, I feel stuck. I don't really know. Because I was in this sort of roller coaster of being really passionate and then feeling pretty burnt out, but not just work. Like, it was kind of in everywhere. Like, I had everything I wanted. I wouldn't have made any different choices in terms of family I had and, everything. But I just didn't feel right somehow. It just felt off. And I didn't feel that spark. And I don't think you would have compared me to your father. Not that I wasn't smiling and happy, but I didn't feel the spark. I was quite exhausted.
That's actually,
I had
the spark is, you just found the word that I was looking for before. Yes, continue. Yeah, the magic.
Well, I had sort of crisis after crisis after crisis after crisis that I was managing, and not a lot of time to process, and not a lot of self-care for a long time. And so I was really, really tired. And I was giving pretty boundaryless in many, many ways.
Oh my God, you're talking about my story, yes.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, it was funny. I remember saying to my boss at the time, like, boundaries will be my life's work, I think. Like, I think I'll just work on them forever and ever. And it is true, I think, because it's not for me. Boundaries aren't having like the set rules. Like, sometimes it is, like, hey, here's my boundary. I don't answer emails after 5 o'clock. Some people, but it's also like, I recognize in this moment that something doesn't feel right in my body. And I'm going to say no now instead of saying yes and then having to come back to you tomorrow and say no.
And all the emotional and energetic bandwidth that takes up to go, oh my God, they're not like that. And I'm letting people down and I'm betraying.
Yes. And how should I say it? And does this sound okay? And if I say, that was how I spent so much of my energy for so long. And it really was just in the last couple of years, I feel like that it's gotten to the point where I'm able to do it more in the moment. It's not always that way, but it's the time between saying yes and then saying no is diminished to the point where I often do say no right away now.
Yeah.
But it's been a real work in progress. And the thing that's helped me is being in tune with my body, because my body knows in the moment, always. It's funny. I get occasional migraines. I don't know if you know anything about migraines, but I always get them with an aura. So it's like an ocular thing. So I'll lose my vision for half an hour before the headache kicks in.
Far out. I've only ever had one migraine in my life, and I'm very glad that I do not have them.
Yeah. So the aura is the signal from my body that the headache's coming. And if I can catch it quickly enough, I can take a Tylenol and the headache won't be as bad. But if I don't catch it, the headache can last 2 days and be excruciating. So I kind of liken this, information from the body around boundaries to the aura. It's like, there's that feeling. The headache's coming. Yeah, there it is. If I catch it early, then I can avoid that long, drawn out process of being in pain and putting someone else through pain. What is, it's not kind to say yes to something if it's not feeling right.
No.
So that is how I think of boundaries now. When I said that to him at the time, I don't think I even really knew what they meant. For the longest time, I was like, I don't even know what boundaries are. And then I worked with someone who was so boundaried and so brilliant at communicating his boundaries. I was like, I didn't even know this was possible.
This is not even an option. Me too.
Yes. Like, I didn't even know you were allowed to say, I'm sorry, but this wasn't on our agenda. So you'll have to book me another time.
Yes, another time.
Right.
I actually don't. Yes, I don't stay after this amount of time, or I don't provide 90% of the work, or I don't give 150%.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Parallel lives, Sarah. Parallel lives. Yeah. I think it's interesting as you're talking about the boundaries. It's when I studied, I knew early on in my science career that how I was being taught, particularly in medical science, that the body was all separate, separate specialties, just didn't make any sense. And so I went on a little curiosity journey to traditional Chinese medicine. And when I was learning 5-element theories, they talk about, I don't know whether I've said this on the podcast before, but they talk about the earth element, which is the stomach spleen, which is not the organs. It's the, I don't know how much you know about TCM, but it's not the actual organs. It's the energy of the stomach and spleen. But that is what is formed first. And that actually creates what we know to be not us and us. So it actually literally teaches us about, I've got goosebumps big time. It teaches us what is and isn't us. And if we have any disturbance of that from either, a lot of empathy where we're wanting to hold space for people, so we're always outside of us, we're in someone else's earth element, then we
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. I know. As I'm talking, I'm like, hello. And see, mine was different. Like my outside of my earth element was born out of having a very unwell mentally and addicted mother. So I was always outside of, I mothered her. So this interruption to this stomach spleen meridian, which is the first one, and there's layers of this through everything from like the chakra system to like Ayurveda, like lots and lots of different alternative, well, I would say not alternative, original, before conventional medicine was invented, theories. And where was I going with all of that? There was something that I wanted to point out.
We talk about boundaries and TCM.
Yes. And then in our parenting, same sort of thing. So we can overstep boundaries, and particularly like both my daughters have chronic health conditions, so very much had to advocate for them. But also, like I said to you before, let's be honest, micromanaging their health as a result. So overstepping my boundary. So always outside this boundary. One of the biggest things that I've learned, particularly because perimenopause just bitch slapped me about a year ago and just went, right. You have no emotional bandwidth. You are running hot. You're not sleeping. Your moods are all over the place. Like you literally do not have anything to be outside your boundary. And that's been the most beautiful gift for me. But yeah, I just wonder the firmness of our boundaries. Like I guess it's the ocean that we swim in, isn't it? It's like we've always done it that way. But the consequence, like you said before, is that you go through these roller coasters of like doing well, and then burnt out because you're always outside of where your energy needs to be. And it's when we realize that we actually can pull it in and practice more self-care. I'm curious. Sorry, I went off on a little tangent there. I really don't know what that was actually for, but where I wanted to get to.
One thing before you tell me, because that's so interesting to me about the stomach and the spleen, because I had chronic stomach aches my whole childhood and teenagehood and
that's
early adulthood.
Okay. So the stomach and spleen is also to do with, so if I think about someone who's got a really balanced earth element, so this is a yellow element, it's also got connection to the solar plexus, which is all about will and willpower and creating magic. The stomach and spleen, the energy is all about digestion, obviously, and it's all about like getting things ready for elimination. And so if you are always outside of your boundaries, you will have leaky gut, stomach pain, IBS, like all of these things that it is so common at the moment. And I'm like, it's because women particularly are taught that to be everything for everybody else, you've got to be outside of the boundary of yourself. So there's not the self-care. Which is where I was going with my next question. When you said that your self-care got better, what did that look like for you?
That's a good question. I mean, I think my self-care started off in my hold on. Let me just, so this is when I get time blind.
Yeah, me.
Um,
Earlier.
well, I know, okay, let me say this. I went on um, a very health kick.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So you might say my self-care was great because I was juicing and my palms were orange. My kids have a memory of me having orange hands.
I've gone through that stage too.
It was
my husband was like, Kylie,
intense.
really?
It's enough. Too much.
Enough.
I was of the opinion that if a little was good, then a lot surely would be even better.
Which is actually another way of boundaries being the extreme of the boundary.
Extreme. So this must have been in my 30s, I guess.
Yeah.
But I was very restrictive with myself. And I was very rule oriented with myself. So I cut out a ton of different food.
Yeah.
I was kind of obsessive about exercise. Which is actually weird to think about because I'm so not like that anymore. And I can tell you, I don't have stomach aches anymore.
Yeah, of course don't.
I mean, the odd one, but it felt like it was what self-care was supposed to be. But I really didn't start taking care of myself until I started taking care of myself emotionally.
Yes.
And mentally and spiritually, and started making time for to listen to my own heart's desire, which I had quieted to the point where I didn't have a clue because I had prioritized everybody else's dreams and desires and being their cheerleader and helping them. And I had all this energy and talent and skill, and I put it into like whoever would let me because I was so ready to contribute, but I didn't realize that I could do that for myself.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't until I started saying, I'm sorry, I can't do that thing for you. Or even like, I might not have had the words, I might have just like pulled away, which I'm, isn't the greatest. And I have regrets about in some cases, but I had to, it was like self-preservation. Like at that point, it was not malicious or even a judgment on the other person. It was like, if I don't give to myself my own time and energy and passion and skills and talents, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Yeah. And I never had that thought about making it. But looking back, I feel like it was so unsustainable how I was living. So really, it wasn't until I started doing that. And then I would say that was around when I started training for coaching. And
that was my next question. Was it the same time that you actually said yes to this yearning that had always been there, with a little shame bubble popping to the surface every time that was
And this coach that I saw said, would you like to do what I do? And I'm like, oh, I'd love to do what you do. Like as if it was such a throwaway, like, but that's not possible. Well, why not? Why isn't that possible for you? If everything is possible for everyone else, which is what I believed.
Yes.
Why not you?
Isn't that crazy? You can believe everything is possible for everybody else. Your kids, your husband, every single friend on the planet, every human on the planet, but not you.
Every human. Yeah. And that like I could see everyone's brilliance and I could see exactly like I feel like there's something that I have that I do use as a coach that's almost like I can see you like outside of the line of you energetically. I can see the big energy around you that you can feel. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. I totally do. And I'm like,
and I've always had that.
Yes. And it's like my experience of that is like you're sensing this hugeness of someone's potential. And what I used to do when I first started coaching, which was looking back now, just like, oh my God, no wonder people were overwhelmed. I would just like beam it back at them. You can do anything, like Tony Robbins style almost. Like I was almost evangelistic. And now I'm like much more gentle, much more gentle, much more gentle. And I think that is, that would be something that you've done your entire life. Like that's intrinsic to Sara.
Yes, because I see what is possible and beautiful and true in everybody. And And I really, really, really believe it. And so it really wasn't until I turned that loving beam back on myself
Yeah.
that I really started taking care of myself. And I will tell you completely transparently, when I wasn't taking care of myself, that's when I was trying to control everything else and everybody
Yeah.
else and
Yeah.
fixing and all the things.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's again,
so
like with the stomach spleen imbalance, when we won't shine the light on ourselves, the energy has to go somewhere. So it just leaks out
yes,
everywhere, everywhere, everywhere,
right.
everywhere. And it's like bringing your, what do I want to say? Like bringing your, because it balanced stomach and spleen is this beautiful earth mother type of like really grounded, really loving, but
Mm,
never at the expense of herself. And I think that's the
right.
difference between imbalance and out of balance. And it sounds like you've found the center
I,
where it can be. Yeah.
yeah, thank goodness. I think it's hard when you are somebody like I have learned recently that I'm an Enneagram 9. I don't know if you know
No,
about
I don't know. I
Enneagrams.
have to dive into the
Um,
Enneagram. think I think I once did it and I'm a 3, but I don't know anything about it. Like I've only
interesting.
just dived into human design. I feel the same about that. I'm
Oh,
like,
okay.
oh, this makes sense.
I don't know much about human design, but I've heard of it. But
Oh my goodness.
one of the traits of a 9 is that
Mm.
you can see everybody else so clearly, but you can't see yourself that clearly. And that's how I knew I was a 9,
Yes.
because that was like, yeah, that's like, you know how people are like, hi, there's new people here and let me introduce myself and this is my story in 3 lines. I can't do that. Like I because I'm the first one to say, yeah, I was a rebel, but I was also a good girl. I
Yeah.
was a rule breaker and I'm also a rule follower. I was,
But,
you know,
but as I'm talking to you, that is also such a great gift for you coaching to be able to see the
yes,
whole continuum.
absolutely. And that's why I believe midlife is so powerful, because I think you learn,
Yeah.
if you haven't already in the first half of life,
Yes.
you learn to operate the beautiful machinery that is you.
Oh, yes. I'm going to write that down.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And there is both power and also
Mhm.
surrender in that, right? Because you actually also, by definition, must accept the type of machine that you have.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like I'm
Exactly.
just imagining, I know nothing about farming equipment. My daughter is so embarrassed. She's like, I'm on the bloody blah. And I'm like, what does that even mean? So she's on YouTube trying to show me clips. And I'm like, Cleo, I'm just not interested. I'm sorry. I mean, I love that you love it, but I'm not interested. It doesn't make any sense to my head. But when she says, you wouldn't be on a header, mum, for this, you'd be on a, and it's like, well, what machine have I actually been gifted with in this lifetime? And what does it do? And what are the things that it can't do? But there's surrender
Yes.
in that. And I think that like when you say these are being your power years, to me, there's power in fulfilling your potential. There's also deep power in actually understanding that there's some things that you were never meant to do that you've only ever done because someone else has told you or whatever, like whatever rules.
Yes.
There's so much peace in that.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
oh my goodness.
Absolutely. You know, I don't know if I said this, but the power years, the sort of formula
Yes.
is experience plus possibility equals power years. It's like,
Oh,
so it's like you take what you've
experience plus
learned
possibility.
equals power years. It's like you using your forensic science curiosity and
Yeah.
pattern spotting to be the brilliant interviewer that I am finding out that
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah. Well, thank
And
you.
yeah, but it's not just work, it's life. It's like, how do I show up in all these relationships that I'm in? What kind of friend am I? What experiences have I had as a daughter? What's possible still for me? Like, how do I show up as a neighbor? So it's just, I I've never felt this powerful, and it's really a power from within. It's not power over anyone. If
No,
anything,
no, no.
I've I've given up that I can control anything.
Oh
Um,
God, yeah.
right? Like that is not a thing anymore. But
No.
I just also wanted to go back to the idea of the body.
Yeah.
Because my body, like there was something you were saying about your energy has to go somewhere, but there's also like the
Yeah.
body will tell me when I'm out of integrity.
Yes.
And it
Very
always,
clearly.
I've had a strong sense of integrity my whole life, and I've had a
Mm-hmm.
strong value system my whole life. And I have tried to listen to it as best I could. Again, I didn't have the whole user manual. I didn't
Yes.
see the whole
Yes.
story. I was just trying to do the best I could and make my choices the best I could.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I would get sick if I was out of integrity or out of alignment, or if something just wasn't a fit for me. I used to get sick. I did work that I really, really liked, but some of the projects were just not things I believed in. And I would
No.
get so sick. And sometimes I would listen to things from people that I didn't really want to hear, and I would get a sore throat because I wasn't saying,
Yeah,
don't
you weren't
tell me that.
actually, yeah,
Yeah. Like
holding the
today,
boundary.
today somebody told me something and I said, no, too much information. I don't need to know that,
Yes.
and,
Yeah.
and that's something I would not have done even a year ago,
Mm.
because it would have felt too confrontational or something. But it's
What's
like,
mine? What's not mine?
yeah, please don't gossip to me because I don't want to know that thing about that person I don't
No,
know. It's not
no,
mine to hold.
no.
So I wouldn't have said that, and I would have had strep throat.
Yeah. Do you know, your when I was in forensic, I've only just connected this. Thank you. This is something I always talk about, chiropractic adjustments of the soul. I've just had one as you were talking,
Ooh, cool.
because I always used to say, I'm like, every winter I would get, a sore throat that turned into either tonsillitis or bronchitis or pneumonia, like without fail. And I used to have this thing, it's like, oh, I've just got this like weakness type of thing. But when I look back, like, I'm the healthiest I've ever been in terms of like, I just don't get sick anymore. And when I get sick, I listen quicker, so I don't get as sick as what I used to, because back in those days, I was working in forensic, which I knew didn't fit me. I was working for a boss who, I just talked about this, I've never said it on the podcast, but I had a boss who turned up at a Christmas party that we had at our house for the whole forensic lab, turned up, drank all of his alcohol, then drank us out of alcohol, and then told me, Kylie, your tits are too big and your opinions are too fucking loud to get anywhere in my lab. No, serious.
Stop.
He was the head of forensic services in Queensland. No, sorry, not forensic services, forensic biology in Queensland. And I did not hold my boundary. I did not say, how dare you speak to me like that? You're in my house. You're drunk. You're a disgusting individual. And how dare you? That's not the way to speak to an employee. None of those things. Now,
I wouldn't have either. That's
back in the
shocking. You
90s,
must have been in shock.
yeah, I was. But I was also 25, and I was also very, very connected to other people had more power than me. And there was definitely a big thread of lack of self-worth going on. And, I found myself in a career that, like I said before, it was totally about trying to get some sort of impressive thing to tell people. And it was never about, like, less so now in perimenopause, but naturally I'm an extrovert. I like being around other people. I like the interaction. And I found myself in a lab coat, in a closed lab, in a fume hood, so working in isolation by myself for 8 hours at a time.
Right.
Hello. But also in this disgusting, such a bad work environment culture-wise, also with lots of really, really good friends. So there was definitely something to balance it. But I got sick all of the time. And I used to have this story, oh, my body is a bit like broken. It's not, my immune system's so bad or whatever. I'd be making my body wrong.
Right.
My body was just talking to me.
Yeah.
Just saying, hey, you're so far out of bounds of where you need to be or should be, alignment or integrity wise, with the environment particularly that you're in. And yeah, as soon as I released myself, and it was funny, just before I left that job, I got a massive thing of shingles all down one side of my stomach, like massive, like so painful. Never
Shingles.
so bad. And
So young to
yeah,
have shingles too.
I
Oh
know,
gosh.
crazy, crazy. Anyway, so I totally believe our bodies are always talking to us, and this sort of idea of trying to heal from a physical or supplementation or whatever perspective, I really feel very strongly that the energetic and emotional, like I always think about health as that holistic thing anyway, but there's that energetic and emotional piece that you're talking about where it's only when I set the boundary that my body feels fine. If I push myself
Right.
outside of that, then my body is in discomfort or
Right.
sickness.
Okay, I just have to. I'm sure you know this, but I don't know how you could have reacted any other way. Like, truly, that is shocking and inappropriate
isn't it?
and unbelievable that
And
he would do that.
it was just normal in those days. In that lab, it
Right.
was normal because that Queensland Health back in those days, Queensland Health's like our big government health department. It was all about people would go into the public service, they would get promoted according to how long they'd been in. It was very much an old boys network, mostly males. And when I got there, I was, 26, more qualified than every other person in the lab. Not every other person, but most other people, but continually went for promotions because I actually wanted to lead a team. I wasn't interested in the science. I was interested in the unpicking the story. That was definitely something that I loved. But what I was interested in was having a team of people and helping people to get the most out of what they want, which totally is obviously, something that's important to me. But yeah, it was all about like continually going for promotion, not getting it because the next person was the man that had been here, the 60-year-old dinosaur who clocked out at 10 o'clock every day to have a 45-minute, morning tea break and everything. It was totally against how I saw the world.
Wow.
But when he said that at the time, I don't know. I mean, we've come a long way in workplaces, obviously, but I didn't stand my ground. I didn't.
Well, can I tell you a story that will make you feel better about that?
Sure.
All right. So I think it was around, again, don't know, maybe 8 years ago, 10 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
Go out for a nice dinner for someone's birthday. And I've never said this in public at all, and I won't name the restaurant because I don't anyway, but it's a landmark restaurant here. People know it. And they had a private room that we had, a circular table. There was probably, I don't know, 8 women. And the owner of the restaurant came in to see how we were doing and was talking to us and chatting. And at one point, he put his hands on my shoulders and started massaging my shoulders. And here I am. I'm married. I've been married for years. I've got kids. Like, it was the last thing that I expected was anybody to touch me in any way.
Complete breach of this is my personal space. This is your personal space.
Yeah. So all of us were in shock. We kind of start laughing, me included. And he just keeps going and going and going until he's going up and down my back with his hands into my hair.
Oh my God.
Into my hair, all the way into my scalp. And like, I'm crying laughing because I went into shock. I think I didn't want to ruin the birthday party. Nobody knew what to say. It was actually horrific.
Oh my God.
And I went home and I was devastated that I hadn't stood up for myself. Devastated. I'm like, here I am, 42 or whatever I was.
Yeah.
And
I'm a grown woman and I didn't.
Just right back to being 14 and having people, do things to me without my permission. Because that was, I don't know what it was like for you growing up, but there was really, really, really bad like rape culture, basically, that we grew up in here, and no consent. And so it's, like people would just grab you and touch you. And I also have big chest. And so it makes you a target. So I was so sick with myself. I just thought, how can it be that here I am, this grown woman with a family? And I laughed. And so I have so much empathy for any reaction that any woman has um, in any situation, like, because it is shocking and inappropriate and horrible. And in that case, I
And we
really
shouldn't.
have stopped blaming myself for
Yeah, yeah.
having that reaction, because it was just absolutely unbelievable that it was happening. Unbelievable.
It's
It went on
astounding,
for
isn't it?
a long time. Yeah, astounding.
I
So
it
you were 25 and it
Yeah,
was your
yeah, yeah.
boss.
Yeah.
So,
And also, actually, when I told this friend I was interviewing yesterday about that story, I actually also had the other awareness that at that time, actually still in Queensland, if you want to be at that level in forensic biology, there's only one lab you can work in. So
wow.
you don't even have any. And so this is what I was talking to her about, was this whole concept of power, but not like you're talking about power being this internal power. That was
Right.
power over, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I just felt
Yeah.
like I had no power in the situation.
Yeah.
No power at all. I'm really sorry that you had that experience, because that is totally not okay.
Well, I'm so sorry you had that experience. And yeah, none of it's okay.
No.
Yeah, none of it. I remember, yeah, years before, after I graduated university, I was
Yeah.
volunteering somewhere, and this man came in who he was like, so it was early years of internet, and he was like a
Mm-hmm.
Nazi fighter on the internet. And
Oh
so,
my goodness.
I thought, oh, he's like doing this noble work, and
Yeah, 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 yeah,
and I was working in this. It was a human rights organization, anti-hate and all this stuff,
yeah.
and uh, and he was kind of like untouchable because of the work he was doing. It was so um, respected, I guess, and it
Yeah.
was
Mm-hmm.
kind of vigilante internet Nazi, and
Mm-hmm.
like, anyway. One day, I don't know what happened, but he turned and he said, "Sarah's just an ornament here."
I beg your fucking pardon.
And again, said nothing. I was like, wait, what does that mean? What is he saying? And again, it was like probably 24 or something. But just stuff like that was so rampant. So I think what happened for me is it just took me right back to being
Yes.
young and being out of power and
Yeah, out
out
of power
of,
and not having
yeah,
the internal authority, and not even not having the internal authority, not knowing there was even an option. Like you were saying before about the
yes,
boundaries. Like, hang on, I
yes,
can actually say, how
yeah,
you are behaving is completely inappropriate, and I will be
yeah,
like, what really should have happened is I would have reported him to HR, but in those days probably HR was one of
yes,
his buddies that he went to and got drunk with
right,
every Friday afternoon, because that was the other
exactly.
thing, a lot of alcohol culture, and you pee in
Yeah,
my pocket and I'll pee in yours and whatever.
yeah,
um
yeah.
I It's a very interesting thing. I know you said before about being big chested. I am
Hmm.
having these conversations with my daughters as well. One of them had this awful experience where a friend of hers is like, "Oh my God, you always look like you're dressing like cheaply." And what Abby
Yeah,
had on was shorts and a singlet because they were going to the beach. And what was
right.
really going on was, I've got a big chest. And so in a singlet, I have a big chest. That's just a
Yeah,
fact.
yeah.
But the stories that other people put on us, bigger chested people,
Hmm.
add up to this sense of ourselves where we're not okay. Like she's like, yeah, I won't, that's not my story to share, but just the
Yeah.
layers of the discomfort of what we can and can't. Like for her, even in a friendship, I was like, did you say something? And she said, no, I just was, same sort of thing. I was just shocked.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Just
shocking when
shocked.
people talk about your body or touch your body or do anything like that.
Mm.
And I mean, what I found growing up in the 80s and 90s were that the big chests were like, it was like other people's, like they belonged to
Oh,
everyone. These are
absolutely.
all of ours.
It's a commodity that other people
Wow.
can go, mm-mm. I know, we
Yeah.
used to
Yeah. Oh, thank you
nightclub
for
and,
sharing.
oh, far out. Yeah,
Yes.
back in
Yes.
the days
Nightclub.
when we would club all the time, far out.
Yeah.
Now you're
Yeah.
taking me back, Sarah. Did not
Sorry,
expect to end
not
up
to
here.
the best places. So we'll zoom back up to the
Yeah.
midlife power years
So
where we
let's talk about. I know we've talked for so long, but I'm so sorry if I've kept you so late.
Oh no.
I am enjoying our conversation immensely. I would
Me
like
too.
to zoom to the work that you do with your clients. What would be one or two major things that women are feeling about in their midlife that you work around? Like we've talked about that power imbalance and the finding, but what's the when you're shining your light on them and seeing their potential, what are they coming for? What are they stuck with? What are the stories?
Well, everyone's different, but I think the thing that brings people to me, and probably you find this too, is different than the thing that they end up
Oh yeah, absolutely.
getting at. So
I feel like that should be on the wall behind us.
Yeah.
What you are looking for is not what you will end up with, but it is what you need.
Yeah. The question that most people come to me with is what's next?
Yeah.
And the question that they end up leaving with, or the answer is who's next?
Ooh. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So who's next in terms of
who are they
who am
becoming?
I?
Who are they being in this world? What
does that look like?
What does that look like? What impact do I want to have? Not necessarily, again, in a work way, but just in the world that I live in. What is in me that's still left to explore?
Oh my
lot
goodness,
of people,
I love that. What's in me that's still left to explore?
Yeah.
That's such a great question.
The people who come to me are often quite creative, or like kind of secretly creative.
Yeah.
And they have these diminished talents that really want to be given time to.
Burst out.
Really, they just want to be nurtured. And so, yeah, everybody's different, but I would say because the roadmap runs out and because the checklist is no longer,
I
it's
liked
all
the
checked.
language you used about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that it's now time to figure out for ourselves what we want to do, what we want to be, how we want to be. And that can be quite, to use my friend's word she used today, discombobulating.
Yeah, I love discombobulating. I think that is my word for perimenopause, discombobulating and disconnecting.
Yeah. But it's also really empowering once you realize that you do get to make choices where you might not have thought there were choices before,
Oh yeah, the choice and the freedom. And I know I'm not talking for everyone, but I certainly feel like all of a sudden there's a lot of responsibilities that aren't mine day to day. So there's a lot of space and time opening up, and to actually feel into, I can marinate here and choose how to invest my curiosity, joy, etc. Like that's such a delicious place to be. And then some days I wake up and I think, I just want to go back to bed. I'm so tired.
I've been letting myself sleep.
Yeah,
I just let myself sleep. And I used to be like the 5:30 girl, like getting up and doing my this and doing my that and having my this. And now I'm just like, if I need to sleep, I'm going to sleep. And I don't make it an identity.
Don't make it mean anything, except that I'm responding to my needs.
Yeah, I'm just tired.
Yeah.
I'm not lazy. I'm not someone who sleeps in. It's not anything that has to define me. I'm just tired.
Yeah.
And who isn't? It's been a tiring
it's been a
few
time.
years.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's So I've got friends that were in Melbourne, which is one of our capital cities, for lockdown, and they were pretty much locked down for the best part of 2.5 years. Where I
Yeah,
am, because
I
I'm in the
remember.
country, we weren't locked down except I think maybe for 6 weeks. And I was working in aged care, so I was essential worker. So nothing changed for me. I just went about my
Mm,
day. I came home and I had two teenagers, homeschooling and a husband, and it was like the Hunger Games. I'm like, one of these days I'm going to come in and only one of you will be alive, but that's okay. I
I,
got to go and do so I feel like I keep on forgetting, because it's not my personal experience, just how
mm,
hard some areas have had the last few
yeah,
years. And then I talk to people, and that is the overwhelming sense. It's just this deep fatigue and
yeah,
need to rest and,
yeah,
store up resources. And I think that's a beautiful gift. I put myself to bed yesterday
yeah.
afternoon. I was just like, my story used to be like, once you're up, and the to-do list is and I'm just like, no, there is nothing left in the tank. I'm going to bed.
Yeah, I really kind of threw out the rule book with COVID. Like I just do what feels like it's most important for me to
So
do.
good.
And sometimes that's just literally giving myself a sprained thumb because I'm scrolling TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yep.
know?
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm not saying that I'm doing anything all that fantastic, but I just sometimes need that. Like I
Just do, yeah,
just to do
to
nothing
check
and
out.
like,
Yeah.
you know, like I'm
Definitely feel
right
like
now,
that.
I'm super into, do you get Daisy Jones and the Six where you
No,
are? Oh
I don't even
God,
know
it's
about Daisy
so
Jones and the Six.
good. So it's based on a book.
Yeah.
Um, and get the lady's name who wrote it, but she's also wrote Malibu Rising and
Oh,
uh
I've heard of Malibu
the
Rising.
seven husbands of Evelyn Hugo, I think. I
Oh,
can't remember her name. But so Reese
I'm
Witherspoon's company created a TV show, and I'm
that's how I heard about it.
so obsessed.
I'm going
So
to have to
obsessed.
go and
So
check it
my
out.
whole TikTok for you page right now is just Daisy Jones, a little bit of Succession that's starting because that's starting up here again, the first season. And what was the other thing? Oh, I also have on my TikTok for you page a lot of improvised dance, partner dance. Have you ever watched that?
No, I have not. I'm not even on TikTok
Gorgeous.
yet. I have to be. I'm going to get
Well,
myself on TikTok,
you
but
you
yes.
you probably are better for it not being on it, but it really does adjust to what you're interested in, and you
Yes, yes,
don't
yes.
really have much control over it. It's kind of
Yeah,
like
it's just
knows
like
you better than it
anything
knows
that
you.
I clicked on.
Yeah. So improvisational partner dance. So they don't know who their partner is going to be. They don't
Oh,
know the song, and they
just
dance like I guess
respond
it's
to each
some
other.
kind of is it like, yeah, they respond to each other. It's this absolutely invisible communication that is so gorgeous.
Oh,
And these are the things that I'm looking at on TikTok. So I feel like, it's not a terrible waste of time because it's things that I
well,
like. But
the only thing
these
that I
dance
get,
things,
yeah, sent to me from TikTok is like cat and dog videos from my kids. That's like, because
right?
we have a
The
Shar who I think that really does need his own TikTok channel. He's quite hilarious, the Shar.
yeah, yeah.
Like the
No,
Adventures of Squishy.
those are quite life giving on a
Yeah,
bad day. Those little dog and cat videos are pretty amazing. But
so
yeah,
cute.
so anyway, this dance, I think because so much of what we do in coaching is an intuitive dance. And
Oh
it's really
yes,
being in that moment and like responding to the person and adjusting to them. And so it feels
such a good
familiar, but
description.
but it's so not something I could do. So I just
Oh no,
enjoy it
God.
so much for absolute entertainment. But anyway, yeah, I
Wow.
don't know
I'm
if
going to
that's
go
at
and
all
check it out. I'm
interesting.
going to go find someone. Maybe could you share one of your favorites, and we'll put it in the show notes for
Oh, yeah, for
people that want to
sure.
go and follow
Oh, for
that spark of
sure.
curiosity. I could talk to you for hours and hours, and we literally have been talking for quite some
I
time.
know. I know.
One last question. How can people
Yeah.
find you? And I know that you have this beautiful Power Years playbook. Tell me about that so that
Yes.
our beautiful listeners can come and marinate
Okay.
in that gorgeous thing.
Okay. So I'm Sara Smeaton, no H.
Yes.
So SARASMEATON.com.
I was like,
That's,
is there a H in your last name?
yeah.
I couldn't work out you were talking about Sarah. Sorry.
Yeah. So many people spell Sarah with an H, so mine's just SARA. That's my website, and you can reach me on social media everywhere from there. I'm quite active on Instagram.
Yes.
And I love people interacting with me there. So please come.
Yeah.
The website, I've got a whole bunch of resources right now. One of them is the Power Years Passport Playbook. And it's basically the way I'm thinking of it is it's like a guided journal that helps you in a fun way, as if you're going on vacation, explore midlife.
I'm going to go and download it. I usually do before I interview people, but I just love high quality questions. And asking them a lot is one thing, but answering them, I just like, so good.
And I really tried to make it fun. And I'll admit that it was born in January 2020, when we were so locked down that we weren't traveling. And at that time, people were really saying, if you can't go out, go in and do the inner work. And I wanted to take people on an inner journey that was guided, because I don't find it that easy to just get to know myself on the inside without some kind of
absolutely. Because you're swimming in your own ocean. So and
I really wanted it to be fun, because I think one of the downsides of midlife introspection is it can seem really hard. And the
heaviness about it.
Heavy. And this was just like a bit of a joyride, and I hope people like it. And I don't think it's going to be available for free that much longer, because it's quite the thing. So go
get on it, people.
Still can. And that's,
you've probably got about 2 weeks from the time that this is published by the sound of
it. And if you go to sarasmeaton.com, you'll see there's a banner right at the top that'll take you to the page.
Perfect. So, and we will put all of that in our show notes anyway for everyone listening in cars, etc. Make sure that you go and click on the show notes. Sara Smeaton, you have been as spectacularly gorgeous as what I expected you to be from your writings and your vibe on social media. Thank you so much. It's been such a joy. I do feel like we should be starting a brown curly-haired girl club with Kate Codrington and you and I. There's something there.
Okay, I'm in. I'm always
she's got the same joyful, she's got that same spark, hasn't she? Beautiful human.
Well, you are so sparky and you're so fun to talk to. And I've told you a lot of things that I've never said publicly. So I hope that it was
so good. Do you know, my only problem, Sarah, this is what always happens. I've written 3 pages of notes and I have to turn them into show notes that will fit on a syndication platform.
All right. Well,
too many gold nuggets.
A problem for your assistant,
the high quality
perhaps. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hello, beautiful. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode, and I trust you receive some golden nuggets or key takeaways that will help you to create the space and grace to more gently traverse this perimenopausal transition. I know that sometimes these midlife years feel rather messy, but they do have a magical purpose. We are literally smack bang in the middle of a powerful, potent, sometimes painful portal, the rite of passage of perimenopause. And the way I see that is that it's a bridge between our younger, energetic, dating and mating, climbing the ladder, easily able to juggle all the balls self, and our older, wiser, take no bullshit, deeply anchored in our own internal guidance, free of obligation, duty, roles and responsibilities that no longer fit us, and way more powerful wise woman within. And what's the wise woman doing right now? She's calling you to gently, patiently cradle yourself whilst you burn down what no longer serves, whilst you honour your needs, while you connect and repattern old limiting things, and you surrender to this deep midlife metamorphosis. I have created something really special for us to get together online every month, completely free. They're called the Soothe Sessions, And it's a chance to join me to create the space and the grace to calm your mind, soothe your nervous system, and learn to feel really safe in your body so that you can let the wise woman have her way with you. We'll join online every month for 90 minutes, and the sessions will include a little bit of a fundamental background info about this powerful portal of perimenopause. I'll share with you a simple and effective tool from my toolbox to offer you some self-soothing when this tricky transition starts to get you down. And my toolbox includes everything from sleep science to energetic medicine, bodywork, shiatsu, traditional Chinese medicine, oriental psychology, yoga, meditation, breath work, all sorts of weird and wonderful East meets West goodness. I'll also offer you a high quality question for your self-awareness and growth. And then perhaps most delicious of all, a super relaxing 20-minute restorative yoga or yoga nidra to allow you the space and grace to integrate what you've learnt. You will find everything about the Soothe sessions underneath the show notes in all the podcast platforms and also on my website at kyliepatchett.com.au under free monthly masterclass. I hope you will take the opportunity to join me. I'd love to meet more of you live, and I will be swapping the time zones around from evening to early morning Australian time so that everyone around the world, including the 29 countries that Zoom on in across Australia and the Asia Pacific region and Europe and the Americas, and even Iceland, which I've just seen today, which is pretty cool. So yeah, the time zones will actually change so that they'll be good for you. And if you register, there will always be a replay. So I hope you'll join me. Here's to you going gently through this midlife metamorphosis, and have a beautiful day. Thanks so much for listening into today's episode. If you love the show, as I hope you do, please take the time to subscribe on your favorite pod listening platform and rate and review. And for bonus points, if you have a friend or someone who popped to mind as you were listening to this episode, why not hit the share link wherever you're listening and send them a little love bomb. Like, listen to this. Did you know this is normal? I really, really, really would love to get these beautiful stories into the hearts and ears and minds of so many more midlife mavens. And your help spreading the love is truly, truly appreciated. Thank you so much. I'm Kylie Patchett, your host, and have a spectacular day.